Hey guys, so a super common request I get from my clients is to help them make a daily schedule for them and their new Doberman puppy. I get it all the time. It's actually kind of fun. And although I can't make a daily custom schedule for each of you guys watching this video, what I can do is I can show you an actual personalized schedule, breed specific to Dobermans, that I developed for one of my clients who was bringing home an 8-week-old puppy. To help them develop just beautifully. And you can use this to base your schedule on. And remember, you're only getting this level of in-depth help with your Doberman right here on Doberman Planet. Okay, so let's jump straight into the good stuff here and show you the schedule I made. This is for an 8-week-old Doberman puppy named Max. Now, it's worth noting that, of course, Max's situation and their owners may not exactly fit for your situation. However, I think this schedule is a great place for you to start when you're developing your schedule for your puppy. And of course, none of us can devote an entire day solid all the time to developing our Doberman puppy, right? We got things to do. But if you're coming anywhere close to this balance of time and how you split up and break up your day, then you're absolutely killing it, and your dog is going to be right on track to being a just really well-behaved, amazing adult Doberman. Okay, so we want your Doberman puppy to develop into the absolute best, most well-behaved adult Doberman possible. How do we do that? How do we get there? Well, first, we do that by making sure they have just an ideal balance between some of the most important aspects of their day in a way that's going to work the best for this breed specifically. Namely, these are things such as bonding time, training time, socialization and playtime, and nap time. So let's look at the daily totals on this schedule for those important aspects. Okay, the first important category we have is bonding time. We've got 3.5 hours of that, and yes, there's dedicated time each day for bonding with your Doberman puppy. At this young of an age, it's super important. As they get older, you can bond with other ways. We don't necessarily have to have dedicated time for that. But right now, that's important. We also have about 45 minutes of dedicated training time. These dogs at this age have a very short attention span, so we can't go too long. This is gonna be broken up into small little 15-minute bursts throughout the day, just because of their attention span. We also have a little bit over 3 hours of socialization and playtime. This is a very, very important category. That's why it's over 3 hours of that as well. We have nap time of about 4 hours each day. Now, this is on top of about 10.5 hours of sleeping they do at night. And to be frank, I'm gonna call that the bare minimum. 4 hours during the day. Your puppy's gonna probably sleep a lot more than that. And we want them to set the pace of this. We're not waking our puppies up just to stay on schedule, okay? They're gonna sleep as long as they wanna sleep, and we need to let that happen and adapt to them. And we're gonna do 4 meals per day at this young of an age. As they get closer to 1 year of age, we're gonna break it down slowly to like about 2 meals per day. But right now, 4 meals per day, smaller meals more frequently spread out throughout the day. This totals about 9.5 hours of total wake time and 14.5 hours of sleep time every 24-hour period. But remember, it's likely going to be a decent amount more sleep every day than this. This is the bare minimum. We're letting them decide how much sleep they need, which will probably be a lot at this young of an age. Okay, so let's take a look at the schedule. In the case of this dog, your day is going to start at 7 a.m. or so, and between 7 and 7:30, they're going to have their first meal. Now, when they have their first meal, a couple things are going to happen. First, you're going to place their full bowl of food behind you and ask your dog to perform 1 or 2 commands. This is a very great opportunity to teach a young Doberman puppy new commands, because this is the point in the day when they are hyper focused on you and they want to please you. So don't miss this opportunity to teach your dog new commands or instill other commands that they need help with. Also, once they do those commands, you're going to give a release command and allow them to then start eating their food. And after a minute or so, if it's safe to do so, you're going to take your hand and do the hand and bowl trick by putting your hand over their food and stopping them from eating for a brief time. As soon as they stop trying to push their nose past it, you're going to take your hand away, give the release command, and allow them to go back to eating. Give them a little praise as well. This is a great way to avoid future resource guarding issues, which is an important thing to avoid with the Doberman breed specifically. Now, after the first meal is done, we're gonna have about 1 hour and 15 minutes of bonding time. Now, this is time where you're gonna be focused purely on bonding with your new puppy. And it's great. It's kind of like a free time, really. And it's important at this young of an age. You'll do things like relax together, spend some time one-on-one, do chores together, things around the house, maybe play a fun and rewarding game together. Anything that's not very rigorous, not too exciting, because as you notice, this is coming right after mealtime and you want to keep the chances of developing bloat to a minimum. This dedicated bonding time is super important at this age, maybe not as much later on, but right now, super important. Now, after bonding time is 15 minutes of dedicated training time. Now, this is a much more structured time of the day where you're gonna be asking your puppy to perform a few commands and work on some behaviors and maybe even some tricks that you're trying to teach your dog. Hopefully you're gonna do this in kind of a boring area of the house without many distractions, because at this young of an age, your puppy's gonna get distracted very, very easily. And this is only 15 minutes because you're trying really hard to maintain their attention the entire 15 minutes. If you let this go on too long and things are getting crazy and they're getting distracted and then you end it, that's not going to work very well for this breed. You want to tap into the habit forming abilities of this breed, so you want them to stay focused on you and you want to end each session on a positive note. Next up, from 9 to 11 a.m. is socialization or playtime. Now, I've combined socialization and playtime together because it's really important for your puppy to see socializing as really a fun and as exciting as playtime. And you can do either during this time, but I really urge you to focus a lot on socialization, because there is two real important things to keep in mind about what your Doberman puppy is going through at this young of an age. Right now, they're in the middle of the critical socialization window. This occurs when they're between 4 weeks of age up to 16 weeks of age. And during this time, their interactions will have lifelong imprints on their behavior going forward. And that's when you should expose them to as many sights, sounds, people, and experiences as possible so that you can end up with a very calm, steadfast adult Doberman. This is also during their what's called the first fear period. And that occurs between 8 weeks of age and 10 weeks of age. And during this time, any fearful encounters or interactions they have may have lasting effects on your dog. So it's very important that you expose them to new things without letting them feel any fear or pushing them into experiences that they're not comfortable with. Okay, so now you kind of have a general idea of what each section involves. Let's move on and see what the rest of the day has in store for your Doberman puppy. After this, we have the second meal between 11 and 11:30 in the morning, followed by nap time, then followed by socialization or playtime, and then that short 15-minute burst of training time. After that, we have yet another meal, and then a nap time. Again, right after the meal. That's not on accident, that's on purpose, because your Doberman puppy is gonna be very tired after their meal and all that exercise. So it's an ideal time for napping. Followed by bonding time after that, and then a last session for the day of training time. Now, it's really important to know that training time comes after two different things in this schedule. If you look at it, training time on the first one comes after bonding time, but before the high exercise of socialization or playtime. The second training time comes after socialization and playtime, where they had a lot of exercise. This isn't on accident, this is on purpose to help you figure out what your Doberman puppy responds best to. Do they focus in on the training session more before they have the exercise or after? Once you do this for a few days, you should see how they respond the best. Then you can modify the schedule so that they have the most focus possible during their training times. Also, their meal times. Notice that their meal times are evenly spaced throughout the day, and that there's really nothing too physically demanding, such as socialization or playtime, right after the meal. That's on purpose to allow between 1 to 2 hours of digestion time, which can help them avoid any issues of bloat. That's a common, very actually serious medical condition that does affect the Doberman breed quite heavily. And then we have their last meal of the day. This is dinner. This is their fourth meal between 7 and 7:30 at night, followed by bonding time of about an hour in length, and then going down for the night at around 8:30 p.m. Now, before bed, we kind of have what's called the witching hour with these dogs, which is kind of after dinner, but before bedtime. This is when Dobermans, and you'll just see it with Dobermans all over the world, around this time, they go crazy. They get out all the last little bits of energy they have stored in them before they go to bed. So they might be running around going a little crazy. So that's why we have that hour of bonding time. By the way, I forgot to mention that if you want your own copy of this daily schedule to use as a reference or to print out and to just refer to anytime you want, you can definitely do that. I'll have a high resolution PDF format of this schedule linked to down in the description below. You can definitely go and check that out. It's worth noting that even with a custom schedule tailored to you and your dog, these dogs develop so fast that very quickly that schedule probably needs to adapt and change as you go along. So as the owner, you do need to kind of be a little fluid with this and adapt your schedule as your puppy progresses and ages. If you'd like me to create a custom daily schedule for you as a kind of a starting point for you, or if you just really have any questions or concerns about anything related to your Doberman journey, feel free to book me for my private one-on-one coaching services. You can take a look at them at dobermanplanet.com/coaching. I actually really like tackling Doberman problems one-on-one with my viewers over, like a face-to-face Zoom call. It's a lot of fun. I think it really helps owners kind of get an idea of breed-specific approaches they can take that really appeals to their dog's natural instincts. I also have on there pre-recorded coaching services, which might be an option as well. And those are kind of fun too, because you tell me your issue and I talk to you directly into the camera and kind of record your own private video addressing your exact concerns and questions. Take a look at them, dobermanplanet.com/coaching to see the services there. You know, if you just need a little bit of Doberman specific advice, because after all, these dogs are definitely different than any other dog out there. Before you take off real quick, guys, if you found this video at all useful, even one little nugget of information in this video useful, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you consider sharing this video, if you're part of a Doberman group or a Doberman forum or something like that, consider sharing this video to help other new Doberman owners. It's just a starting place for kind of formulating their day. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, guys. I always love it. Keep being great Doberman breed ambassadors, and of course, see you next time.